All right, so hopefully this thing still works, but I just wanted to give my thoughts because I haven't made a video in a while about the kind of dark reboot of the Power Rangers that everybody's kind of been talking about recently. I don't know exactly when it was published, but I just kind of sat down for the last 15 minutes and watched it. Um, I liked it. I thought I usually like when they kind of make more adult kind of versions of things that um, we watched as kids. I liked when they did it with Batman with the direct-to-video DC comics, like the Dark Knight Returns. I mean, that was what in my opinion, what Batman should be. Um, just to use an example of kind of like something that they rebooted, and also the Dark Knight film trilogy. Um, but getting back to the actual Power Ranger reboot, um, I I don't really understand why it was really focused on Zach. I mean, I like Zach as a Ranger. I think he was really good in the show in the '90s. Um, and I actually would like to see this made into a feature-length film. I do think it went a little bit over the top with the violence. I mean, I don't necessarily mind violent content, but um, I do think, with the throat cutting and, Jason David Frank actually posted a video of his thoughts on it a couple days ago. Actually, I might have been yesterday. I mean, I saw it yesterday, but it did, yeah, it really did go kind of over the top with the violence. I almost think they kind of, and especially with the sex scene, I almost think they kind of just put that in there to kind of be like, oh, this is adult. This is like what adults can watch. It really didn't have to be in there to make it a good film. Um, it could have been just as dark with a PG-13 rating and not, all the violence. I know like people are gonna think this is like uncool, but I still enjoyed it. I think it definitely has potential. I like what they did with, you know, the characters. I like the revamp on some of the suits that they actually did show. And in terms of filmmaking, I mean, it was really, it kind of felt like just almost like a dark action movie. I mean, there's plenty of those to go around. So I do kind of wish it focused a little bit more on, the actual, I thought it was interesting how, and, I mean, I'm going to put a thing in the description that this does kind of contain spoilers, but, I mean, he, I mean, you find out that Kimberly is like Rita at the end. I mean, she's kind of just like in another form. And the only thing is, I mean, making it a 15-minute film, I know it was a short film, but I think if it was made into a full length, an hour and a half long movie, they could actually, tell a little bit more of a story because it almost felt like when I was watching it at least, it almost felt like I was kind of being thrown um, right in the middle of like a post-apocalyptic war zone. And I mean, I do like how it opens, and it's the first-person camera angle, and a couple Zords are fighting, and there's chaos happening all around, and it's just I don't exactly know who was in the first-person camera. I want to say it was uh, the Red Ranger, maybe. I mean, based on the cover art, and I mean I'm thinking that was the Red Ranger helmet, but um, I just think, kind of, in a way agreeing with Jason David Frank. I mean, it's, it's something that's supposed to be designed for kids and adults. Um, but I mean, I think kind of going back to the DC comic direct-to-video movies, it doesn't have to be. I mean, adults can. adults can watch the thing that was kind of designed for adults, and then kids can watch, Power Rangers Dino Charge and the newer like Super Mega Force. I mean, um, there was an episode in Super Mega Force which I still have yet to see. I'm gonna get around to seeing it at some point. Um, but where Tommy comes back, a bunch of different Rangers come back, and they do that every once in a while. I mean, Operation Overdrive had once a Ranger where Adam and Kira from Dino Thunder came back. To be honest, if you want my opinion about it, I honestly think the show was good up until Power Rangers Dino Thunder, because Tommy came back, and that kind of just uh, kind of made it a blast from the past kind of season. And I really liked kind of seeing him as the as another Ranger again. But I mean, there were other good parts to the show. I know Jason David Frank has gotten a lot of oh, like Jason David Frank was like the best Ranger. But honestly, I really liked Jason you know as the Red Ranger. I know Tommy kind of became the leader after Jason left, and Rocky wasn't really kind of he was a good Red Ranger. I don't want to bash on him, but after Jason, Zach, and Trini left, I mean, it was kind of like you know Tommy was like, oh, okay, I have to take over the leadership role. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I like Jason David Frank. I just think that all these other things that they have him doing in like today, I mean, with the reality show made by Bat and the Sun, and the Green Ranger, the White Ranger beatdown, and eventually possibly the Green Ranger beatdown, and the new film that's in production right now. At least I think it's in production. But I mean, yeah, he was good. And I'm glad they had him come back for the Forever Red episode. I'm glad that they keep having him come back. But I think it is a little bit overblown. And actually, that's one of the reasons why I'm wearing the red Power Ranger shirt, because I really did like Jason. I think he was probably one of the better leaders of ever. I mean, um, I liked Cole as the Red Wild Force Ranger, but of course, I mean, I think there's was some he committed some sort of something. There was something in the news where he like I don't know, did something bad. I don't really remember the details of it, but you know, and I just think I again kind of going back to the film again, I did like it. I think it was a little overly kind of violent. Again, I think a lot of the stuff was just put in there to be like, oh, oh, we're making an adult fan film about Power Rangers. Um, and I don't necessarily mind violent content. I actually, sometimes I, look forward to it. I know that sounds kind of sadistic, but I didn't mean it in that way. But I just think it could have been just as good a film without the throat slashing and things like that. And it almost kind of reminded me of that new Tom Cruise movie, The Edge of Tomorrow, where he's in the mech suit, and it's just kind of I don't understand why it's always this like push to have like kind of a post-apocalyptic like um, kind of war zone like Megazord battle kind of thing. I mean, sometimes I mean that campy kind of Power Ranger stuff from the '90s was fun. I mean the fact that Jason came back in Power Rangers Zeo as the Gold Ranger, and that was awesome. I mean the fact that they have people come back every once in a while, it's pretty. It's a good way to like pay homage to like the show's roots and like where it came from. And I really haven't been a since Dino Thunder, with the exception of that Operation Overdrive episode, I really haven't been a fan of um, the fact that they redid the theme song for Power Rangers Samurai, and the fact that they redid it again for Power Rangers Megaforce. It's like that same song. They keep trying to redo what the team did for the original Mighty Morphin song. You can't recreate that song. It's like the original version is where it's at, and I just again, major fan of the power, the whole, everything Power Ranger, but it just, and again, I know I keep reiterating this. It's not that I didn't like the film. I actually enjoyed it. I think it was a nice kind of expansion and take on the Power Rangers legacy. I don't understand why Zach was really the only one who was kind of focused on. I guess because Kimberly, quote unquote, died in the final, the final Earth-ending battle. Um, but again, I would like to see this made into a feature film. I mean, if the guy decides to kind of launch a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo campaign to kind of fund maybe a full length production, I would back it. I mean, I would definitely kind of get behind that and just want to see what they could do with it. I mean, it wasn't a poorly made film. It was actually I thought it was really well made. The dubstep kind of remix of the Power Rangers song at the end. Um, you know, I think it could have been done a little bit better. I mean, I don't know what the push is to put dubstep into everything. I mean, I found like dubstep metal bands and just dubstep and club house music. I don't know. It's just I don't get what the push for dubstep is. Check out the sick bass drop. Like, oh, that was sick. I'm just like, nah, no, it wasn't. Maybe I'm a little biased about it, but I don't understand the push to put dubstep into everything and like automatically makes it cool. But yeah, I mean that's just kind of some of my thoughts about it. I mean I'm gonna put this on YouTube, so if you do see this video, definitely leave some comments and let me know what you think, and I'll reply back. Thanks for listening.